Hey folks, Kilt-Man here, Kilt-Man at your service. Today, it's the MacLeod. Yes, the MacLeod from the Clan MacLeod from Highlander. And as I've said before, in that film they actually do use the correct tartan. So many movies set around the clans of Scotland, the Highlanders and all this, kind of they make up their own. Braveheart. Huge case in point there. But for Highlander, they actually genuinely did get the right tartan. And they get a Frenchman to play a Scotsman. And they get a Scotsman to play an Egyptian/Spaniard. Well, it's a fantasy. But at least they got the tartans right. So, anyway, folks, lest I forget. How are you all? Hope you're doing well. It's been a crazy old day. It's a Monday, and again, lockdown continues, and Mrs. Kilt-Man has been sitting here, but facing that way, and converted all this into her work's office because she's working from home. Something that I still do not have that dubious pleasure of. Although I think time's running out for me on that one. Damn it. Normally I sit outside waiting for the postman to deliver packages of bounty, of merchandise, of masks, of movies, of music, of mayhem, just great stuff, and which I then proceed to show to you, of course. Now I'm dreading the postman because it's going to be a laptop, a works laptop. Oh God, no. So it's going to be quite awkward now because we're all going to be, well, do me and Mrs. Kilt-Man sit at opposite sides of the breakfast bar with our own little workstations. It's kind of ironic because how me and Mrs. Kilt-Man met was many moons ago. I would only be 18. I had declined an offer from the US Marine Corps to join them. I have discussed this before. I did join our Royal Marines, but many years later. But I was going for the US Marine Corps. It's a long story. I passed everything, the medicals, the whole caboodle. Yeah, I was going to Camp Pendleton. Hey, exciting times, And then the night before, because during all this, my father, Big Kilt Papa, had been saying to me, look, you can't just depend on that. Be applying for jobs. I want you writing, because this is pre-internet days, you couldn't do emails and stuff like that. I want you to write 30 letters a day to find employment. And I was already a qualified landscape gardener. I'd done that. I'd already learnt that on the YTS, the Youth Training Scheme, yes, aka slave labour. But that only lasted a year. Well, I think it was 2 years, but if you got a job. Anyway, I was going US Marines, but I've been writing to companies, and I got a job in a place called the Crown Suppliers, based in the Liver Building, the famous, illustrious Liver Building. Yeah. One of the three graces on the pier head on the famous Liverpool waterfront. And so I was actually 17. Yeah, 17, I can't remember. It's so long ago now when I joined them. And I declined the US Marines and I went for the Crown Suppliers. Because it's more exciting, more dangerous. Actually, it did turn out to be pretty dangerous, but that's another story. But that's where I met Mrs. Kilt-Man, and she'd been there working for years already. She's a wee bit older than me, although looks a hell of a lot younger than me. That'll be the whiskey for you. And we ended up going out with each other and ended up living together in a very short space of time. And I'd been around the block already by that time, and she most certainly had as well. So it'd be like that. We used to sit and work together, and it was funny because she was my boss for a short while, and she used to authorise any afternoons off. The thing that Kilt-Man is renowned for, afternoons off. All those afternoons where he's gone out for his dinner time and just doesn't come back to work because he's drinking whiskey and he's met somebody and they're chin-wagging, they're having fun. Or he's just having such a good time in his own company that he just loses track of time and stays out. So most of my leave goes on afternoons off. But in those days, we used to have a leave sheet, an actual physical leave sheet. Now it's all online, you know. But and the only leave she gave me was half a day's annual leave, and it was to go and buy the engagement ring. That was the only leave she authorised for me. Anyway, so it'd be weird for the two of us to be working together again with our laptops. I don't think I'm not going to fucking work in. If she's working, I'll be in another room. But anyway, the point I'm getting to is that she said to me, like, she's been working all day, and she'll be working all day tomorrow. And then she said, like, oh, you can do your video now. Because all day long, you know, and it's been gorgeous weather, gorgeous. I was out with Roxy the Wonder Dog for quite some time. Really enjoyed it. It was baking hot. And then I come back, and of course, the main movie room was taken because my son had come down. He'd ordained to come down, you know, while it was still daylight, because what he's been doing, he's up till like, he gets up in the afternoon, late in the afternoon, but there's a reason for that. He's been up till like 6 a.m, playing video games with his mates, you know, online, and we hear him chattering away there, and you know, and yeah, well, he's just shifted his, it's a different, he's doing the night shift is what he's doing, and sleeping during the day, and then partying all night. Well, I would say party, he's on his own, you know, in his room. That's not really a party, is it? You know, back in my day, that was called a party in your own hand, with 5 dependable friends arriving. Anyway, so he was down watching stuff on Netflix and fucking Amazon Prime and all that. Oh, gotta catch up on this, gotta catch up on that. So I'd come in with the dog, and I wanted a bit of shade because I've been out in the sun. And I thought, I can do a video. I couldn't go in there. Oh, I'll go in the front. Oh, no, I'm here, I'm working here. That's my daughter. That's Kilt's daughter was working in there. I thought, shit, what am I going to do then? She goes, well, this is Mrs. Kilt-Man. She goes, well, have a whiskey and sit outside in the sun. I've just been in the sun for half the bleeding day. But I thought, okay, well, there'll be a moment, there'll be an opportunity. So gets myself a whiskey, sits outside, falls asleep in the sun. Yay! Wonderful. Wakes up all, you know when you wake up and you've been in, you know when you're away, you're abroad. Remember that, when you could get on a plane and travel to a different country? Yeah. That'll become a myth that we tell our kids and our grandkids. Oh yes, we used to get on planes, these big metal things with wings, and they'd fly, and the kids would be going, oh, Granddad's on one again. Fairy stories. And but you'd go to resorts, gorgeous resorts, you know, well, they'd be fucking shit resorts with building sites next to your apartment block and all that. And but you didn't care because the sun was baking, and you were drinking, and you'd be on a sun lounger, fighting the Germans to get a sun lounger and all that kind of stuff by the pool or on the beach, whatever. And then you'd be drunk, and then you kind of fall asleep in the sun, and then you wake up an hour or two later. Oh my God! It was like you were actually in a hot car wash. You feel the air, the hot air on your face. You couldn't breathe. Just alcohol fumes coming out every orifice. Oh, it was just unbelievable. And you couldn't see. Just give me water. And yet, bizarrely, you'd make it to the bar. You wouldn't make it to a tap. You don't want the tap. You don't want the tap water out there. But you wouldn't buy a bottled water. You'd go back to the bar again, and another lager or whatever would go down your neck. And pretty soon, you'd wake up and you'd be fine again. Pissed as a fart. And that's how your 2-week holiday, because they were the days of 2-week holidays, a fortnight, 2 weeks. No one does that kind of shit now. You just can't afford it. And you can't get the leave for 2 weeks either. Anyway, where the hell was I going with this rambling retort? Yeah, she said to me, oh, have a whiskey outside. So I did that, sat in the sun, fell asleep, woke up, and she was still working. Oh, I've got me dial in now, so you can't do a video in here. So that was another hour she spent on a dial in with all their work cronies. So I thought, well, I'll just wait, yeah. And finally she gets up, she goes, the kitchen's ready for you now. You can do whatever you want. Do your video in there now. Because I'm going out. I'm going to go to Asda. Yes! I'm going to go to Asda and get some supplies. And yes! Now, you know me. I can't stand Asda. at the best of times. even when you don't have to queue up outside and keep a 2 meter distance, and and you've got all barriers and stuff like that to keep you away from all the staff. Nah, I can't. Even when it's just normal, I cannot stand the place. I hate it with a vengeance. So I don't go. I get off lightly there. She goes, anything you want? I said, yeah. Not necessarily in the order of necessity, but meat, my milk, because I have lactose-free milk, and because I'm like that. I'm finicky and fussy. No, I'm best off without dairy, to be honest. And whiskey. And she went, what, whiskey? I said, yeah, use my card. Take my card and get the whiskey on my card. Get the rest on yours. I'm not that stupid. And she went, but you've already got a bottle of whiskey. I said, yeah, but it's only got about that much left in it. She went, well, make it last then. Make it last till when? When would you next be going shopping? Because if you don't get it from Asda, and I've got to go down the road where it costs at least £3 or £4 more. And she went, well, just take your time with it. Why are you drinking it so fast? I said, I've had that bottle for like 3 days. I have made that last. That is making it last. Do you not comprehend this? The pubs are all shut. You can't go to the pub. What do you think I do when I go to the pub? I drink whiskey, and I drink quite a lot of it as well. I'm not endorsing this, by the way, folks. This is how Kilt-Man lives. You don't need to follow suit. You don't need to do that. To be as cool as Kilt-Man, you do not need to throw whiskey down your neck. In fact, it's advisable you don't. But, so I'm like, I need one. She goes, oh God, I'll get you one then. I said, on my card, I'll pay for that, like. Dear God. She goes, well, do your video while I'm out. So, here I am. I've sat down. It's recording. And then I realised I've got nothing to talk about. No, I have. I've got tons to talk about. There are, off camera, 1, 2. Oh. Well, there's 2 masks there I'm going to show you, but not right now, because that moment's not right now. It's that kind of gone. I've got to prepare for that. There's another mask somewhere. I don't know where to put that. And there's loads of reviews, because I've been watching a lot of movies, and so there's loads of reviews. But again, I'm not really in the mood to do that right now. Ain't that weird? So, really speaking, all I'm going to do right now, after this rambling 12-minute chatter, I want to say another great big thank you to Daniela Doria. She's got one of the most gorgeous names to go with one of the most gorgeous faces. And I always stumble over it, mainly because her name has now changed. She's got a married name, which I'm not giving away. But I did that video on her. The previous video was a big tribute to one of Italian splatter horror's, most beautiful yet most punished victims in the films of Lucio Fulci. Now, that video, folks, came about because I'd spoken to her, and I did ask her permission if I could do this video. And she's watched it and she enjoyed it, and I've spoken to her since, and she's an absolutely lovely, adorable lady, and I'm so made up that she was happy with it. Plus, I got a lot of feedback on that video as well, not just on YouTube, but people have been messaging me and saying how much they enjoyed it and how much they remembered it as well. And some people are like, "Oh my God, was that the same girl in all those films?" And he did all those things to her, the director, and she did some horrible demises. In fact, in all the films I've seen when she dies, couldn't they just not, for once, not hurt her and let her live and let her be the survivor at the end? No, not little Lucio. He wouldn't let her off the hook that easily. But yeah, so great big thanks to Daniela, because without her saying yeah, I would never have done that video anyway. So thanks again, he says. Oh, whiskey, God, love it. So folks, this is basically just a recap. Now, I've got a big feeling that what's going to happen is Mrs. Kilt-Man will come back with my son. And by the way, it's the first time that my son has actually been out the house since lockdown began. Normally he goes out playing footy twice a week. He goes out with his mates, he does this, that and the other. But obviously you can't do that now. And although I go out every day with the dog, or go exercising, doing whatever, and Mrs. Kilt-Man does that, both my kids have not left the house. You know, it's almost like they're going to turn to ash in the sunlight. And but my son, as bizarrely, he's opted. He said this last night. Oh, are you going to Asda tomorrow? This is to his mum. Are you going to Asda tomorrow? Yeah, can I come with you? And she was like, yeah, but I'll be going as soon as I finish work. So it's going to be around about 5 o'clock, 5. Will you be up? Will you be up? But then again, because he's up till 5, 6 in the morning, yeah, that's a valid, important question. And he said, yeah, I'll be up. And of course he was, because he's been watching stuff all damn day, and on the big screen. And so he's gone out with it. And I genuinely thought, you are going to burn up in the sun, because you've not seen any, you've not felt any fresh air. You've not been outdoors for 5 weeks. 5 weeks? You've got people who are genuinely stuck in flats and apartments, who maybe are self-isolating, who genuinely cannot go out. They could be high-risk people. They've got symptoms maybe. He hasn't! He's totally fit and healthy. Fucking hell. And he's self-imposed this lockdown on himself. Maybe because, well, if I'm not going out with my mates, I've got no reason to go out. So, simple as, I'll just play my video games all day and I'll watch movies or whatever, And this is the thing, my kids are both, I've never seen happier kids than these because of all this. Everyone's going, oh, the poor kids, they want to go to school, they need to socialise. My two are thriving on this, absolutely thriving. I did get me kilt daughter, 13. I did get her this morning with a good one. An email come through, and I picked it up on my phone, and I went, oh, this is off your school. It was. And she went, what is it? And I said, well, like they were talking on the government update, and the education minister was saying, basically he was saying, we're not letting kids go back to school until 5 points of criteria have been met in the coronavirus, outbreak. We've got to meet these 5 things before we even consider. So the press who were coming out was saying the kids are going to go back in May, mid-May. That's wrong. It's not happening. So blah, 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 blah. But she didn't know about that. So I went, your school's been on, and they're saying that, blah, 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 blah. Despite what the government has said, we totally insist on bringing the children back to school because they need to be learning. They've got exams coming up, and it's not good to keep them indoors, and they need to be socialising with their friends. They need to be learning, blah, 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 blah. And my eyes were going like that. I was making the whole fucking thing up, and she was stood there just going like, and her jaw was like, almost to the floor, and there were tears welling up in her eyes. No, because she was banking on more weeks, maybe even months more of this. And she went, have you really got an email? I said, yeah, it is. And I turned it around, and it's got, her school's name on top of it. And she went, I said, nah, hon, it's just about being safe online. So, by the way, she's not antisocial. Don't go thinking that. Neither of them are antisocial. They just do seem to enjoy, hey, lockdown's working for us because we're watching films, we're doing stuff in the house, we haven't got to go anywhere. And that rubs off, that sort of thing, because I am fucking made up that I'm not going to work. Fucking made up with it. And on my dog walk before, I'm always meeting people and this guy, he said to me, oh, I bet you're missing the pub, aren't you? And I went, well, you know what? In a perverse kind of weird way, ironically, I'm not missing the pub. I was the first 2 weeks. I was really annoyed. Well, you may remember, I did videos upon this very topic, and I weren't happy, and I was dreadfully missing it. And but as time's gone by, you kind of well, I'm still drinking, and I'm probably saving a lot of money because I'm not. Mrs. Kilt-Man would argue with that, of course. What have you bought from Amazon now? Another bottle of whiskey, all this kind of stuff. But so yeah, I've got used to it. People are saying it's the new normal. I hate that phrase, but it is becoming that way. And with the lifting of restrictions, which will eventually come, pubs, clubs, restaurants, cinemas, theatres, they're going to be the last things that are going to actually allow people back in. Think about it. They're going to say certain shops can open again. That will happen. But shops can be regulated. Only 2 people in at once, wearing masks. That's how it will take place. People can go back to work. Maybe people will wear. This is what I've been saying. Maybe you'll have kids going into schools on a shift rate, on a ratio, a split shift sort of thing. Half of them will go in 1 week, then off a week, and the other half will go in that following week, and that's how they'll regulate it. Again, with the workplace, could be very similar. I mean, these are all ideas at the moment, but how would you do that with a pub or a restaurant? Oh, we're only going to allow 3 people in at once. Well, that business is not going to work. It can't run like that. And 3 people in, and you've got to stay in that part of the bar. You've got to stay in the back room. You've got to stay over there, and you've got to queue outside with a 2 meter, distance between each one. And then once they've drunk up, only 1 pint, only 1 drink, blah blah. Then you've got to go, and then another 3 come in. Bollocks! That's not going to happen. It can't happen like that. But you also cannot have, until coronavirus is completely gone in the eyes of the government, and all the health, specialists. How can you have people congregating in a pub? It can't happen. I want it, obviously. I want pubs to be back open again. Christ, I've spent most of my time in them. But and that's what I'm saying. Now that we've had this enforced, social distancing and lockdown, am I going to go back to that? Do I really want to go back to that? You bet your ass I do. No. I genuinely do feel that I've changed. Even me, an absolute booze hound, has changed. Well, I'm still a booze hound. Otherwise, this would be arguing. I'd be going, it's just, it's coffee. It's tea. It's a day-old cold tea. It's whiskey. And long may it keep flowing. I hope Mrs. Kilt-Man comes back. She says, "Oh, your card didn't work, so I couldn't get any whiskey." The next video, you'll see me hanging on the next video like that. No, but I do think that pubs and all the social elements, concerts, gigs, anything like that, public events, they're going to be the last thing that ever begins to resurface, and it may never resurface the way that we did used to enjoy them. It's possible. As I say, coronavirus, COVID-19, like many viruses, it's going to evolve, and there'll be COVID 2021, possibly. Or you might get COVID-19 making a resurgence. Who knows? These are the warnings, the dire warnings that they're coming out with. We've got to live with it now. So this whole thing, and they've now proved that populations around the world can live like this. There was a thing about there's this thing about the media again, how the media destroy things and make things worse. We've had 3 weeks? We've had 4 weeks of it, and then the UK government, as many other governments around the world, have said no, we're not ready to lift restrictions yet. So we're going to have another 3 weeks of this, and then we're going to review it again. But of course, it'll probably go on for longer than that anyway. And I don't know anyone, and I speak to other people all the time, via social media and passing in, when they walk 6 feet away from me, down the street, and everyone's kind of like, well, it's going to go on for a lot longer. But the media, once it came out, they were like, oh my God, how is everyone going to cope? Oh, we've done so many weeks, and now you've got 3 more weeks of this. Every TV show, every daytime TV show, every magazine program, every radio station that I listened to was coming out with this. How are you going to cope? How are you going to cope? And they literally force-fed panic and distress down the population's throat. No one was worried until they banged on about it. And that's what the media does, folks. That's what the media does. It bangs on about things. It hammers home upset, worry, stress, fear. They're fear-mongers. And at the end of a half-hour news programme of absolute distress and dire upset, they'll throw the happy story in at the end. The little happy story. Oh, things aren't all bad. This guy's raised blah, 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 for the NHS. this has happened, you know, how to beat the lockdown blues, and all this kind of fucking bullshit. How to cut your hair at home, that's the big fucking thing at the moment. How to cut your hair at home. Let it grow, I say. Let it grow. If you've got hair, fucking grow it. Do it. Bring back the days of peace and happiness and hippiedom. I was never a hippie. I may like the longer hair, but I'm definitely more a warmonger. Death, violence, chaos. No. It has its place, of course. Right, folks. Really speaking, this was just like, oh, I've got a chance to sit in front of the camera and do a video. So I've sat in front of the camera and I've done a video. And that's it. I may be back later on today with another video because there's stuff there to say. But I really wasn't prepared, and I just thought, they'll be out for an hour, maybe more. But I'm not ready. But I want to do a video, so I've done it. So again, I want to say a big thank you to Daniela for allowing me to do that video, and she's wonderful, a wonderful person, and if only she was allowed to become like the lead actress and have more of a part, you know. She has done other films, and I've got to be honest, I've got to hold my hands up and say I haven't seen them. She did a few before the Fulci movies, and then she did a couple of movies afterwards, and then that was it. Movies, she turned her back on them. She shunned them, and off she went. And like many people who worked for Lucio Fulci, they didn't return to watch the movies that they'd made. So, and it must be odd to be lying there naked on a bed with a guy and an entire film crew and a guy acting like a psycho, making quack quack noises in the New York Ripper, and then using a razor blade with all special effects and slicing you apart and ripping you, and you've got to scream, and you must be thinking, no one's ever going to watch this. I'll never be remembered for this. And of course, it went down in history. So anyway, folks, this was a rambling mess of a video, but I've just thrust it out there because, hey, I had the opportunity. Stuff of more worth, more value, more integrity, more content, more fun, coming your way very soon. So, in the meantime, and the in-between time, if you've got lovely weather, enjoy it. Just don't get pissed and fall asleep in it, because you don't wake up feeling too good at all. Anyway, I'm going to see all of you later. Long live the lockdown.